My most recent obsession is this court case, this lawsuit against Cardi B. All right. If you're not familiar with Cardi B, Cardi B is a rapper, and she is also a national treasure. Cardi B is incredible, and this case is pretty wild. Basically, what is being alleged in this case is that Cardi B assaulted a security guard. It's alleged that Cardi B assaulted the security guard, and you hear both stories throughout the case. The security guard's story is that she was at work, securing the building. And then Cardi B walks in, and then she's like, "Oh, Cardi B." And Cardi B didn't seem to like that she was approached, that Cardi B was like, "What are you doing right now? Why are you in my face?" And that Cardi B got nasty with her very quickly. And so they were in the elevator together, and she said that she followed Cardi B out of the elevator to clear up any confusion. I don't know if it was to apologize or anything, but she admits that she did follow Cardi B into the elevator and out of the elevator. And then she said Cardi B really lost it and started cursing at her and everything, and then started swinging on her and stuff, and that she got a little nick on her cheek from Cardi B scratching her face, right? And then the receptionist and the doctor that Cardi B was there to see, because Cardi B was in the building for a doctor's appointment, that they broke up the fight, and then everybody went about their way. But because of this assault, because of this nick on her face, she is suing Cardi B for about $24 million. I'll tell you right now, for $24 million, Cardi B could cut up my whole leg, okay? If Cardi B chopped up my leg and gave it back to me in a bucket, I would be like, "You'll be hearing from my lawyer." $24 million. That's crazy. So then, Cardi B's account of things is that she was going to the doctor. At the time, she was pregnant. She didn't want anybody to know she was pregnant. She didn't tell anybody, and she didn't even tell her security guard where she was going that day, her personal security, because she was just trying to keep this whole thing private, right? And even the doctor's office had blocked out time just to make sure they didn't have other clients coming in back and forth, and Cardi B was going to be the last appointment of the day, right? So Cardi B shows up to the building, and then immediately she hears Cardi B, and so already that's not ideal, right? Like that could happen at any time. Cardi B is very famous, but then she is getting in the elevator, and then she notices the person who screamed Cardi B got in the elevator with her and has a phone in her face, and so she goes, "What are you doing? Aren't you security?" Because she had security on her. And then she's talking to her while she's in the elevator, and then she exits the elevator, and she says she can still feel this person behind her. So then she turns around, she's like, "Hey, what are you doing? Why are you recording me? You gotta get out of my face. I'm trying to go to the doctor." And then that's when the person who was recording her, the security guard, got real angry and was like, "I could do what I want. It's my phone. This is my building," which is a misunderstanding of what security is. If that really was said, oof. I've never met a security guard who thought they were clocking in to own the building for a little while. But then they got into what Cardi B says was only a verbal altercation. There was the receptionist and the doctor that came into, I guess, the hallway to break things up. But she said, "I didn't touch her, she didn't touch me," so I didn't really think of it again, because if you don't know Cardi B, you should at least know that she's used to verbal altercations. I'm sure they don't stick with her. She was on Love and Hip Hop. And so then she just sort of goes about her life, and then she gets hit with this $24 million lawsuit. This whole thing, to me, just my opinion, but this whole thing feels like when that dude tried to sue Gwyneth Paltrow for millions. Remember that dude, Gwyneth Paltrow, if you aren't familiar with this, basically Gwyneth Paltrow went skiing one time, and then this other dude went skiing, and I don't know exactly how it went down, but I guess they bumped into each other at some point, and then the guy got up and he was like, wow, you're Gwyneth Paltrow. Oh, I'm ruined. No, because this is the thing. Coming after Cardi B seems like kind of easy in a lawsuit like this, just because she was on shows like Love and Hip Hop, and in Love and Hip Hop there's a lot of this. In Love and Hip Hop, whether you're watching Atlanta, Hollywood, New York, there's a lot of almost fights. You know what I mean? Usually it is stirred up by the producers. They get everybody nice and drunk, and then they're like, hey, you won't believe what she said. And then they always believe what she said. And so, you know, Cardi B's been known to pretty much never back down. In fact, there was this old case. I don't think anything ever came to it in like a court sense, but Cardi B was doing I think it was a festival, could have been a concert, and somebody threw something on stage. You know, somebody threw like a water bottle. And this has happened a lot in like the past. I don't know. People lost their minds through COVID and everything. And now people sometimes even feel themselves throwing something on stage. I don't know if it's like to get a reaction out of the performer, and every performer has a different reaction to it. There are some people who, as soon as something gets thrown, they walk off stage, show's over, and they don't even try to continue. There are some people that try to dodge it, act like it didn't happen. There are some people that try to dodge it and then try to find the person who did it and get security to kick them out and everything. Well, basically there was a time where someone threw a water bottle at Cardi B, and I believe she dodged it, but she must have seen who did it, because she immediately threw the microphone at them. They probably thought Cardi B was going to be some easy pickings. They were like, I'll throw my water bottle now. She's clearly unarmed. And can I just say, throwing a microphone at somebody is one of the funniest projectiles to throw. Because it's the only one where you get to hear their reaction to something being thrown at them in real time. Imagine Cardi B throw a microphone right back at them, and they're like, oh, is that a... Last thing the crowd hears before the show ends is, whoa, watch out! Even better if they turned around, they threw the water bottle, they're like, I think I got it! And so, well, they had this court case, and I don't know. Cardi B better than me. If I were me, I'd be losing my mind right now. $24 million for that's what she's alleged. Like, the security guard is alleging $24 million. I don't even think I got $24 million worth of head. I think even if I was in a horrific accident, I'd probably only get like 10, maybe. And that's with half the head missing. $24 million just feels insane. And so, you know, they go to court, and Cardi B's got a lawyer, security guard's got a lawyer, and security guard's lawyer does seem bad at this. I don't know the law. I'm not a lawyer. I don't even know some of the stuff they're saying. When they get into like the real nitty gritty, like the weedsiness of the law, I don't know what's happening, right? All I know from all my hours of watching Law and Order is that if you're a lawyer and you're talking in court, you're talking, right? And then the other side keeps saying objection, and then the judge keeps saying sustain, you're not exactly doing well. And that's what's been happening this entire trial. The judge basically sustaining the whole thing. Like, this lawyer for the security guard keep withdrawing his own questions mid-question because he can feel a sustain coming. And like some of the questions don't have anything to do with anything. It's one thing if you're badgering the witness or you're really trying to like rile them up and get them to admit something, you try and catch them in a lie or something like that. It doesn't even feel like that's what's happening. This dude will just be asking questions that have nothing to do with anything or the case. It feels like he's just a Cardi B fan. The amount of times that Cardi B's lawyers have had to say objection, relevance is astounding. He's asking her all sorts of questions. At one point, though, he gets back on track and he asks Cardi B, you're saying that you felt threatened by my client. The security guard says, client, you saying you feel threatened by my client. I'm wondering why you feel so threatened. What was the issue? What was the issue? And then Cardi B says, I was pregnant and she's coming at me. I think she wants to beat me up and I'm pregnant. Hello? Hello? And then he goes, hello, hello. Hello, I'm here. And that's when it occurred to me that maybe what's happening is that this security guard's lawyer, maybe, just throwing it out there, potentially has never met a black person. I think if you've never met a black person in your life, and your first black person is Cardi B, that's a bit of a crash course. That would be like if I never met a white person in my life. Never met a white person, never talked to a white person, didn't even see one in a movie. Never met a white person. Then my first white person ever was Bill Nye the Science Guy. I think I might be walking away with some incorrect assumptions about white people. I think I go back home and tell all my friends and family, oh yeah, white people, they love space. No, they got a bunch of facts about turtles ready at the hip. Oh, and they love bow ties. Can't stop them from wearing a bow tie. The only time I've seen something like this exact moment, this type of thing, this like misunderstanding in that way, was on a TV show called To Catch a Predator. Okay. I don't know if you remember To Catch a Predator, but in case you never watched it, this was some insane reality TV. Basically, To Catch a Predator, they did just that. They would lure and then trap predators online who thought they were talking to underage kids, right? And they would have all these long conversations with them, and then they try to meet up with them. But when they tried to meet up with them, they would go to like the Sting house, right? And at this house, they would show up thinking they're meeting this underage person. Turns out they're meeting Chris Hansen. If you don't know Chris Hansen, you don't know Dateline. All you need to know about Chris Hansen was he was the To Catch a Predator. Oh, you'd hate to see Chris Hansen coming if you were a predator. And so they would lure these predators to this house, and then especially season 1 was like no other thing. Season 1, when people didn't know what was happening, that was some of the wildest television I've ever seen. Because they didn't know who Chris Hansen was, all of them. Some of them did, right? But most of them did not. And so they'd show up to this house thinking that they're going to meet this underage kid, and they might even call out a name or something. Then Chris Hansen would walk in. Chris Hansen walk in holding some papers and everything. Now, because they don't know who Chris Hansen is, they think maybe this is the person's dad or something. So they immediately, they feel caught, but they don't know how caught they are. Right? So then Chris Hansen would walk in and be like, "Hi, how's it going?" And then he'd tell them to sit down, and they always sat down. Chris Hansen would sit them down, and then he'd ask them what they were doing here. And they'd try to come up with some sort of lie on the fly or something. And then he would ask them how they know this underage kid, and they'd try to come up with some lie on the fly, something like that. And then Chris Hansen would be like, "Oh, that's interesting because I have the transcripts of your conversation." And no matter what color they were, you watched the color leave their face. And then Chris Hansen would ask them what they meant by certain things in the transcript of the messages and stuff, and these people would just sink. They were terrified, devastated, right? And then Chris Hansen would be like, "Okay, all right, you've answered all my questions. You can go." And even the predator would be like, "What? Really?" Like, yeah, you can go. You can go. And they'd be like, "Oh, okay. I mean, I thought my life was ruined or something. All right." And then they would get ready to walk out. And when they walked out, they were immediately tackled by the local police department.
And not just tackled, like properly football tackled. This would have been unnecessary roughness in the NFL. This is the only time nobody's gonna take you to task over police brutality. You know what I mean? Because the police, to their credit, they would announce themselves and say, "Get on the ground." They were just saying, "Get on the ground" when they were already airborne. Police would be in the air, legs up, "Get on the ground." It's like, you know your shoulder about to be in his neck. They would tackle him, and they cuff him up, and then they throw him in the car, and they take him to jail. And then in jail, they would go to the interrogation room, and they'd have to answer all of Chris Hansen's questions all over again. I guess him asking was just practice. And there was this one time where this guy comes in, and I don't remember what season it was, but this guy had a very interesting aesthetic. Like he was white, but he had a very like Vanilla Ice vibe to him. You know what I mean? And so he walked in, but when he walked in, he was like. Chris Hansen walked in, and then when Chris Hansen walked in and told him to sit down, he was like, I. And then Chris Hansen does the thing that he does, asks him why he's there, asks him why he's been talking to this underage kid and everything. And then a thing I forgot to mention before that also happened in all the episodes was when Chris Hansen finally announced himself, where he was like, "I'm Chris Hansen with NBC's To Catch a Predator." Cameras would come out from all these different rooms, right? And it was always, without fail, too many cameras. It was always a number of cameras where I'm like, there's no way all those cameras on. There would be people with cameras in the hallway because they couldn't get in the kitchen, just lifting the camera up. Be way too many cameras. And so then the cameras roll in once Chris Hansen announces himself, and then this guy sitting there pulls down his cap a little bit and says to Chris Hansen and all of the cameramen, "I'm not really trying to be on TV, you feel me?" Repeats it. "I'm not really trying to be on TV, you feel me? You feel me? You feel me?" And Chris Hansen, without missing a beat, this man says, "I'm not really trying to be on TV, you feel me?" And Chris Hansen says, "Yes, we are filming." And I haven't seen such a misunderstanding until the security guard's lawyer says to Cardi B, hello? Yeah, I'm here. That man lucky. That man lucky. Cardi B at no point in her testimony hit him with a like that. That would have broken his brain. That would have ruined his life. He would have bent his knees. Oh! Everybody get out! What's happening? No. Because once again, this dude is wild. This dude is asking her questions about things that have nothing to do with anything. At one point, I think he's really in his head. He's having his like Perry Mason runaway jury moment. Like he's doing something right out of Law and Order in his head because he gets his planted stance. He starts going in on Cardi B and he says, today versus yesterday, all right? Yesterday, you had short black hair. Today, it's long blonde hair. 2 days ago, it was long black hair. Which is it? I don't know why he thought he had her. That was incredible. I don't know what I think he expected Cardi B to be like, I don't know. Oh no. What's happening? I thought he probably had some follow-up questions ready. He's like, if you're changing your hair, how do we know when you're not changing your story? All right? Miss Cardamom Basil. If that is your real name. And Cardi B just laughed it off. She was like, they're wigs. Like, what do you want me to do? And then, he gets into the stuff that's more relevant to the case, and he's trying to grill her back and forth with question after question after question. And he finally gets to this point where he's like, why did you feel threatened? She says the pregnancy thing and everything. But he's like, you said yourself that my client is about your height. Why would you be intimidated by her? And then Cardi B goes, yeah, I mean, she's a little bit taller than me, but she's bigger than me and everything. And I don't know what she wants to do. Now it seems like this person wants to beat me up. I don't know. Like, I don't know if they went from wanting a picture to beat me up or just wanted to beat me up and record. I don't know what's happening. Right. And so then this guy goes, why are you so intimidated by it? You're saying that she's bigger than you. What makes you say that? And then Cardi B goes, like, do I have to say it? No. And then he's like, are you calling my client fat? Are you calling my client fat? All right. Did you call her fat that day? In fact, you called her fat that day, didn't you? And then Cardi B is like, no, I was only calling her the B word. Like, it was really just that. I didn't really have time for anything else. Sort of said that over and over again. Didn't really get to work in any other details. And this lawyer, I don't know, like, even it's like now what we're getting into is stuff that I guess isn't nice, but I don't know how it helps his case, because then he just keeps egging it on. He's like, but you said that and you said other things, didn't you? You said other things. And then Cardi B, to her credit, it starts admitting everything that she said, right? She starts just repeating verbatim in court. She just cursing in court openly, just nonstop cursing in court, right? And he's like, is that what you said? Say exactly what you said. I mean, she's right here, right now. Say it again. Say it to her face. Say it again. And then even Cardi B is like, what is happening? Like, you want me to curse her out again? Like, is this one like a freebie or something? Like, I can't tell what's happening. No, it's like, no, you were so threatened. You were so completely threatened by my client. You know, what makes you so threatened? And then she's like, well, at the time I was pregnant and I was 130 pounds. All right. And then she was like twice my size. You know what I mean? And then once again, he gets on the same thing. He's like, are you calling my client fat? And she's like, no, I'm not saying. She just, you know. No, what? I don't know. What are you trying to say? Say it. Say what you want to say. There's no harm here. Say it. She's security heavy. That's so much worse. And this man keeps going. He's like, what do you mean security heavy? What are you trying to say? She's security heavy. What does that even mean? And Cardi B is like, you know, she built like she protect buildings. If it were me and I was Cardi B, I'd probably be sitting there furious. Cardi B better than me, you know? I'd probably be sitting there so angry. I'm just trying to live my life. I was trying to go to the doctor privately. My business is always out there. People get paid to get up in my business and everything. And I'm just trying to have a quiet moment. I'm not feeling well. I believe was her first child and everything. No one knows that she's pregnant. And then this whole thing blows up and then she gets sued for $24 million. And, you know, she's better than me. I'd be sitting there furious at that lawyer. You know? And if I was a security guard sitting there watching this happen, I'd be furious at that lawyer. What are you doing? You just getting me roasted in open court. This doesn't feel like it's getting me any closer to $24 million. Oh. Because I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm better than anybody, okay? If times get tough, if things get rough for me, I run into George Clooney. It's just me and George Clooney in the hallway. I know I haven't been able to pay my rent or anything. Is his word against mine? I'm gonna see George Clooney. I'm gonna put my hand on the ground. I'm just gonna. Look at what George Clooney did to me. Why would Ocean's 11's George Clooney do this? I thought he was a good man. I can't believe that Ocean 12's own George Clooney would step on my hand like this. What's that you say? He still owns the tequila company? Oh. Oh no. Who would have thought Ocean's 13 George Clooney would be capable of something like this? I thought he'd be president one day. Nah, easily. It doesn't have to be George Clooney. I don't even need like A-list. I really don't. If I see Neil deGrasse Tyson Times are tough. I run into Neil deGrasse Tyson. I'm throwing a bowling ball straight up in the air and catching it with my head. I was like, oh no! I can't believe Neil deGrasse Tyson did one of Newton's laws of motion to me. I think it was the first one. Oh. Doesn't have any popular person will do, you know? If I see William H. Macy, I'm gonna run into a wall like that dude from the show Fargo. I'm gonna run right into. If I ever meet William H. Macy, he better pray we outside.
Because if she's trying to get money out of Cardi B, you know, this is not the way. She over here admitting that she only got nicked. Just a little. That quick. That. And she said that she had to have 2 plastic surgeries.
Even brought the plastic surgeon to court, and the plastic surgeon came into court with a picture, right? Now, the plastic surgeon, this is also why I feel like this case is bogus, because she doesn't have a picture of the scratch from the day that it happened. Her plastic surgeon had to come in and do a before and after picture. And honestly, I don't know if that dude a plastic surgeon. I don't see what he did. Like, it's... Even when they tried to show the cut, like the little scar that Cardi B supposedly gave her, maybe they didn't zoom in enough. Like, I don't know but they had the little line pointing straight to it, and I'm squinting. It doesn't even look like Cardi B did $24 of damage.
Oh, you try and get money out of Cardi B. This is not the way to do it. All you got to do is make sure y'all are still alone. The other problem, and the reason this whole case feels fishy, is because her lawyers, and I suppose even her, didn't want the receptionist or the doctor that broke them up testifying. That seems suspicious. If I got $24 million worth of damage done to me, I'd call everybody who was within earshot. You know what I mean? Oh, you heard me. You remember? I was like, oh no, $24 million just fell out of my face, right? So the fact that her lawyers didn't want those people testifying seems fishy. And then you kind of understand why. I don't know if she was a fully surprise witness or anything, but I know they were trying to block it for a long time. And so the receptionist finally sits down on the stand and testifies, right? And the security guard's lawyer is over here asking just all the relevant questions, right? And some of the questions are getting objected to and then sustained because they're a little leading. You know what I mean? Like he asked a question about how wasn't it my client's job to see fit who should and should not be in the building? And then obviously Cardi B's lawyers objected because how is the receptionist for one office building in this entire building supposed to know all the ins and outs of the security guard's job, right? And they get to this moment where the receptionist comes out because she says that she heard a commotion, and she gets out there and Cardi B is up against a wall like this, like back up against the wall, and security guard is yelling in her face, right? And so then she, immediately upset by what she's seeing, gets in between the two of them and is breaking it up and tells the security guard, I don't know what's going on here, but you need to go back to your post. This is very unprofessional, everything. And everybody's screaming just so everybody can be heard, right? And the lawyer gets excited. He's like, and so do you think that this could be the moment that Cardi B scratched my client's face? And then the receptionist goes, actually, I'm really the only one that got hit out of the both of them. Like, I was... You know, you try to be a good Samaritan, but...
And not only does she say that she's like the only one that got hit between them, but she got a scratch on her face, a scratch that bled, and a scratch on her face that bled that came from the security guard. You could tell the lawyer's out here panicking. He's... Whoops. Okay. All right. And so then he starts, in my opinion at least, sort of like badgering her a little bit with questions to try to like double back from the fact that now it looks like the only person that may have assaulted someone is his client. And so he then says, he's like, yes, but you also weren't there the entire time, so you didn't witness the entire altercation. Maybe Cardi B spit on my client before you got there. Maybe she scratched her face before you got there, but you got there and you broke it up and you say that you didn't see anything. But maybe something happened before you got there. You don't know. You don't know. And then the receptionist was like, yeah, I guess I didn't know what it was like to be there till I was there. Yes, I suppose. You got me there. Because it's not just the scratch, I should point out. The scratch is the main thing, but the security guard is also, to my knowledge at least, alleging that Cardi B got her fired as well. You know? And then they had the doctor testify. And I won't say that the security guard's lawyers tried to poison the jury, because they were pushing a narrative the entire time. And the narrative was that obviously the receptionist and the doctor would back Cardi B because she was a client of theirs, a patient. So it benefits them to back up her story, right? And they even say as much while the two people are on the stand, you know. But then the receptionist says, no, actually, the security guard hit me up and said we should sue Cardi B. And I was like, nah, because you started it. Which is also not great for a security guard's lawyer. He's over here, okay, well, look, nothing further. And then they had the doctor testify. Now, the doctor was the last of the scene, so by the time he comes out, the receptionist is getting in between Cardi B and the security guard. So he said he was also very upset about what was happening, you know, and he was trying to make sure this thing got broken up. Now, the doctor said, look, what I saw wasn't just unprofessional, it was very concerning to me. And I got out there, and the only thing I could think to do was try to match the body language of the security guards. I don't even know what that means, but I imagine it means he ran up out there, he saw three people arguing, and he was like, hey! Cut that out! Because by his own account, it's not like he the one pulling people from people or anything. Reception has already broken it up and taken some punishment. And so, and then took Cardi B in. They had their appointment and everything. And then he was so disturbed by what happened and what he saw that he reached out to Superior for the security guard, and, you know, said that soon after that she was taken downstairs during a shift and like let go, right? And that also doesn't look great for her case, because she alleges that Cardi B got her fired, and now this dude in open court was like, no, it was me. It was me. It was me 100%. And I guess I'm just coming from a place of like, if you really wanted to sue Cardi B for $24 million, you don't wait until there's other people involved that are all going to have different accounts of what happened. If you wanted to sue Cardi B for $24 million, you just walk up to
Cardi B before she gets in the elevator. Say, hey, Cardi B, how you doing? And then throw yourself down some stairs.
That's gonna be the easiest way to do it, you know? Throw yourself down some stairs, all the while screaming out Cardi B singles for every step that you hit. You finally hit that last step, you're like, oh, why would top charting artist Cardi B do this? Oh, she's really about that life. These are bloody shoes. Okay, I'm just going to sort of throw this out there. I love coming to Arizona. I love visiting all the different parts. I was just in Tucson and everything. I will say, though, as a state, y'all got to decide which of the restaurants are just fronts. Like, just absolutely not a business at all. I was in Tucson, and we walked into a restaurant that they looked very surprised we could walk in. It seemed... We walk in, and not only are there not any other customers, it's three people that are towards the back, towards the kitchen. Not in the kitchen, like outside the kitchen at the last booth, just counting money. If you run a business, your eyes should never be wide when you see a customer. We walk in, everybody, just looking caught. I was with Dave. Dave was like, are y'all open? And in my head, I was like, if you have to ask. And they were like, first of all, if you open, just say yes. This is crazy. They were like, yeah, sit anywhere. Why are you saying it like you just thought of that? Like, then we sit down, and one of them walks up. We never see the other two again. The one of them walks up, and he got one menu. And he was like, hey, yeah, I mean, get whatever you want. And then he is gone for a while. He's gone, and like, you could tell he was talking to the other ones, but so everybody whispering. But they're doing the loudest whispering I've heard in a long time. They're doing that panic whispering, because there's whispering where there's like, and then there's the whispering they were doing. It's like, wait up. And finally comes back up. He's like, hey, you decided on anything? And I was like, yeah, could we get some guacamole? And he was like, and then he left, and he was gone. He was gone for way longer than it takes to scoop guacamole. Like, I'm not complaining, I'm just noticing. I was like, all right, he already left us for quite a while after he gave us a menu, and now he's been gone for way longer. And then I see him, because in my head I'm like, oh, maybe he's making the guacamole. Maybe they're making it from scratch. Maybe it's one of those places. And sure enough, I see him walk out of the kitchen with a big old metal bowl, and you can hear him stirring the bowl and everything, stirring. And I think he's about to walk to our table, and he doesn't at all. This man walks out of the kitchen, is stirring the bowl, then walks up to the bar and grab some salt from the bar and started shaking it in the bowl. And I was like, your kitchen doesn't have salt? Seemed like salt would be the first thing in the kitchen. The only way that could have been worse is if he had walked up to my table and grabbed the salt. Then he went back to the kitchen. I guess kept stirring. It was a while. It was one of those things where I just started contemplating about how
long it really takes to make guacamole. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, would I have made it faster at home? It feels like this restaurant was such a front that when we ordered the guacamole, he went to the back and he was like, listen, I made a list. You gotta go to the grocery store right now. All right, get 2 avocados, get 1 onion, 1 tomato, a little bit of pepper. Where's the salt? And then he finally brought out the guacamole, and it was funny the way he did it because he clearly made the guacamole, then slid it all into a cup, shook the cup real hard, and then put it down upside down because it was like a tower of guacamole. It was an upside down cup of guacamole on the plate with the chips all around. And like, this just me noticing. I'm really not complaining, but it wasn't enough chips. It was clearly whatever chips were in the bag that was in the bag, because it wasn't the amount of chips you would need to finish this cup of guacamole stacked upside down. And the chips were interesting. They all had different consistency and everything. At a certain point, here's the thing about a chip for me. When I dip a chip in guacamole, just give it some strength. I hate to dip into guacamole and have it snap in front of me, and then I look crazy. I look like I don't know how to eat. Making me look greedy just because your chip doesn't have strong corners. So, take the chip, scoop some out, doesn't snap, already a good sign. And guacamole was actually phenomenal. It was actually really, really good. It was crazy. And so he was gone for a while, and then he comes back up like 10 minutes later. And he's like, how is it? And we were complimenting, like, this is actually really good. And we shouldn't have said actually, but under the circumstance. You know what I mean? Like, just under the circumstance, that y'all look surprised to see us. So how are we supposed to know the guacamole would be good? You look like you didn't plan on making any today. We were like, this is actually phenomenal. This is really, really good. And he was like, thanks, man. Wow, thank you. And I was like, wait, what? Why do you seem like you really needed to hear that right now? It was crazy. It's like, yeah, man, thank you. Thank you, dog. Appreciate it. Did y'all want to order something else? I will let you know before y'all order any cooked food. Our chef did leave, all right? I don't know when he gonna be back. It's like, all right, yeah, I guess y'all are a regular restaurant. That's fair enough. There's that, and then there's, especially when we were in Tucson, it felt like everybody was kind of trying to be healthy. There was so many like salad bowl places, but then there was an ice cream store next to every salad bowl place. This is the most ice cream stores per capita. There were ice cream stores across the street from each other, like rivals. And then while we were deciding where we were going to eat, after we didn't eat, this dude was on a scooter, and he took a spill, right? He was on a scooter, and I don't know, I've never been a fan of these like bird scooters, these like, the one that you can just, as a pedestrian, hop on and ruin your life. You know what I'm talking about. The scooter that's just parked. You feel like you're stealing it. Like if it didn't take your phone to unlock it, you'd be like, this is a crime I'm doing right now. And how is it built? Remember those scooters from when we were little that just had the like the like brake on the very end of the back wheel. It's somehow that scooter mixed with the throttle from a motorcycle. Cause why'd they make them go so fast? You got people driving next to cars on the scooter or just murdering pedestrians. Cause there's no tutorial. All you need is a credit card and you could just become a bullet. It's insane. There's no video to watch or anything. You just get off. I'm gonna say some things that are a bit conflicting in nature, at least. Like, we saw a guy take a spill on one of these scooters, because why wouldn't you, right? And the way this man crashed didn't make any physical sense. Because he definitely crashed, like went over the handlebars, right? But by the time we turned and saw him, do you remember planking? This man did a mix of planking and a stop motion music video, because he didn't just slide up to us on the ground. He really like like his whole body kept trying to stop on the pavement. I know that hurt. Glasses flew forward, flew off his head. Glasses weren't done flying. I don't know what I said. I was like, oh my gosh. And I don't know. I wish I was a hero. I was one of those type of people that like springs into action. That's not who I am at all. I just kept standing there like, ooh. Wow. You look hurt. It's not good at all. It's not right what I did. And I didn't mean to do anything. And I didn't do anything to help. I just, whoa. It was my buddy picked up his glasses, walked up to him and was like, hey, are you okay? You know, and this is the thing as men. Like, just as guys, right? For real, just it's okay to be hurt. I don't just mean that in some sort of like metaphorical sense. I mean, like, if you get hurt, it is all right to be like, ow. Because we basically watched this man die. But then when we asked him if he was okay, after he got done sliding, and he realized we saw, but we were like, are you all right? This man in front of us just started doing push-ups. Dog, no. You're not gonna convince us that this was part of the plan. That's only a man could like do something like, only a man could like wreck a car, fly out the windshield, wrap himself around a tree, and then grab a branch and be like, one. Like, in what world? You must be out of your mind. Doing push-ups, and then my buddy walked up with his glasses and then handed him his glasses. He was about to leave his glasses. He was about to get back on this. Because here's the thing. This is one thing that I can say I relate to with my man here. When I fall, I also want to make sure that I never see the people who saw me fall again. When I fall, if I fall in front of you, it's either me or you. I gotta kill you now, and I hate that. But one of us has to go. This is too embarrassing. And so my man was about to drive off on the scooter he just fell from. I assume he needs glasses if he's wearing glasses. This man was about to get back on the scooter blind and drive off just to not be in front of us anymore. And my buddy walks up, hands his glasses back to him, and he's like, yeah, that thing got me. Just got me. And my buddy was like, the curve? Yeah, it tends to do that. Like, you gotta really pick street or sidewalk. The curb is kind of the only thing keeping those two apart. And then we noticed, like, he actually, from all the sliding, he actually did scrape his chin pretty hard. So his chin was bleeding. My buddy even said, he's like, you're bleeding, right? And then he goes, I know. No. You can't out tough blood. I was insane. But I've been having a great time in Arizona. It's been very fun. Can I tell you? It has been cracking me up. Apparently, it looks like Marjorie Taylor Greene is going to step down in January, right? Look, y'all cheer, but that means there's room for somebody crazier. That's so wild. Woo! Next person shows up. You're like, oh, maybe not. Because this is my thing. It is very funny to me that it took this little resistance for Marjorie Taylor Greene to be like, you know what, I'm up out of here. I don't know. The rumor is that Marjorie Taylor Greene wanted to run for Senate, and Trump said he wouldn't support her for Senate, that he'd only support if she stayed in her House position. Now, I don't know if that's because of the fact that they need the numbers where they are, or because he doesn't believe that she could win the entire state. Whatever it is, he told her no. And and then something changed. He told her no, and then something changed between them. You know what I mean? Like she was like, I think I want to go to the Senate, and Trump said no, and then she was like, oh my God, you're in the Epstein files. Like it was it was pretty crazy. Because she has been she's been attacked with all the vindictive nature of somebody who wanted something and didn't get it. You know what I mean? Because now she won't fully come out against him and say like, oh, you are covering up, you specifically. She keeps acting confused. I don't know why. No. If you ever date anybody like Marjorie Taylor Greene, you already know the tactic. I don't know why. Isn't that weird? I think it's kind of funny how isn't that crazy that he just won't release the Epstein file? And I'm not even saying he did anything. I'm just saying, isn't it crazy that it kind of looks like that because he's protesting too much? Nah. And then it came to a head. Then, Trump attacked her back and everything. Y'all saw. This woman's crazy. It's what a lot of people say about their exes. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I can't believe she's a lunatic. All this stuff. And then she was like, oh, I'm crazy. That's the thing about calling somebody crazy who might actually be crazy, is that they never take it well, but they take it better than you think they're going to take it. They have a crazy reaction to it. It's like, oh, I'm crazy. Fine. It's like, what does that mean? And then she just kept going. She just kept, beating that Epstein drum. He kept coming after her. Then he called her a traitor. Who would have thought that traitor hurt more than crazy? Do you know what I mean? This man was called her a lunatic, called her every type of out of her name, out of your mind thing you could say about a person. And then he finally said she was a traitor, and she was like, whoa. I didn't know the gloves were off. That was crazy. Because then she had a press conference. She had a press conference. And then behind her were a bunch of Epstein survivors. Yeah, like a bunch of women who were like, no, we've publicly been calling for the release of Epstein files forever. And then Marjorie standing right in front of them, got the microphones way too high. They should have given her a stool or something. That wasn't. I don't even like her, and that wasn't fair. That was. Is she the shortest person that's ever lived? Why would they do that? That's insane that they even let the. Just one step stool would have fixed that whole situation. They let her walk up. Who knows? Maybe they tried to help her. Maybe they did. Maybe they were like, you really should, to get to the lectern, you should probably have a little steps, do something like that. She was like, no, the truth will make me tall. No, I'm sure she said something like that. And then she got up there. Now she got to talk up. And, the president. The president called me a traitor. Anytime you talk under the mic, you do sound like a munchkin. Like it's just like it does. The president called me a traitor. Let me tell you what a traitor is. I was really trying to take her serious the whole time. But you even saw the women behind her be like, oh. And she almost, it was a moment. Look, maybe it's wishful thinking on my part. I'm willing to admit that. But there's a moment where I could swear she almost said president. Do you know what I mean? Like there's a moment she's alluding. She doesn't say it. She still doesn't quite say it. But she's over here. A traitor is is someone that sells this country out in billions of dollars to Argentina. Like, Margie, just say his name. Who else did that? Do you know what I mean? That's like when you live with a girlfriend, they're like, somebody didn't take out the trash last night. It's like... Well, it's only two of us here, so if you're not saying it's you, why don't you just call me out then? No, and then she said she's stepping down in January. Okay. All right. Yeah. It's weird. It's weird. It is. Because it's like she did, like I will say. So I'm trying to figure out how to put this. She did undergo a lot of harsh treatment from people based on Trump attacking her. Like when Trump attacked her, a lot of like MAGA itself seemed to turn on her. In a way that I'm just saying this as a spectator. Not taking any sides, I'm just saying. It does seem a little weird and unfair that you attack her now when she's like, how about we release the Epstein files? Getting all sorts of threats and everything, all sorts of attacks and stuff. And then she went on CNN trying to, I guess, do like some sort of like image rehabilitation or something like that. And she gets on there and she's like, I'm sorry for the toxic politics that I've been a part of. I'm pretty sure it was Data Bash. Data Bash is over here like, all right, well, I have a list to go through. We're not just gonna let you keep it vague like that. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, Marjorie Taylor Greene saying, I'm sorry for like the toxic politics I've engaged in. What do you mean? That's most of what you did. Like, that would be like Jeffrey Dahmer coming out and be like, I'm sorry for the bites I took. Like, it's... Whoa, you are grossly understating your impact on the community. This is wild. You know, then she just started going down the list. Like, are you sorry for when you liked a bunch of tweets about putting people to death? And she's like, you know what? I would love to move forward. I already deleted a lot of those tweets. Yeah, no, it was wild. Yeah, it was very funny to watch to me because I was like, all right, look, maybe she's like changing, or maybe she just really wanted that Senate seat. Like, maybe she's really upset that Senate seat's not going to happen. And then she's asked about that. It's like, I'm hearing that, you know, some of your break from Trump wasn't necessarily a change in ideology. It was the fact that you wanted to run for Senate and he said no. And then she was like, that's absolutely untrue. I haven't even talked to the president about that. And then she talks about how she's been getting all these threats and everything. And look, I will say, nobody should be getting like, you know, threats online or any of that stuff. Like sometimes it happens to somebody that's not a particularly good person, so you do care a bit less. But overall, no matter who it happens to, the whole idea of being better than the idea of doing something is you actually have to be better. You know what I mean? If you're on the side that's better, you have to be better, you have to act better, and sometimes that just means like not engaging in the thing. It shouldn't be a race to the bottom. And it is wild that people talk about like a violent, radical left all the time, but somebody just sort of like sicked the right on Marjorie Taylor Greene, and she was like, yeah, I think I'm good. I don't know. These people have guns. And it does just blow my mind. That like really took me aback. The irony there. You know? Like okay. I didn't know this dude personally, but there was the story that I was told when I was living in Chicago about this dude that basically, all right, it should make me laugh because I'm glad it happened to me. But there was a guy in Chicago. I used to live in Rogers Park, and there was a dude apparently in like Edgewater area, which is a little bit south of where I lived, that he would rob people, right? And the way he robbed people is he just had like 3 rocks and a sock, and he would just and it is, I don't know, it's like, that's terrifying. That's just, I don't know. I'm not saying a gun would be better, but a gun would be conventional. You know, like, is an upsetting idea that you could be robbed in a sort of David Goliath type situation. You know? Nobody prepares for that. Like, you know what I mean? If somebody has a knife, you like, no, okay, they mean business, right? If somebody got 3 rocks in a sock, you like, are they serious? And so he would rob people, right? And he did this like off and on in the area for like a month and a half. Like people would just talk about it. I used to work at a grocery store that was like in that area, so people would just be talking about it at work and everything. And then finally, there was one day he tried to rob somebody. There's rocks in his sock. But they had a shovel. Apparently they hit him with a shovel and took 5 wallets off of him. That's a version of what Marjorie Taylor Greene must be going through. You know what I mean? It's like she did all this stuff for so long, and now finally she the one getting threats, and she's like, these people are crazy. It was really upsetting stuff. I don't know. Yeah, I don't even know where she'll go after this. Because a lot of people move from government to like the private sector. They do a lot of speaking engagements and stuff like that. They do a lot of, I don't know. I really don't. Yeah, I mean, who's gonna hire Marjorie Taylor Greene for a speaking engagement? I mean, I'm sure there's organizations out there that are like, yeah, go up there and tell them how everybody's a lizard. Go ahead.
Well, you have to understand about the lizard people that they have and wear skin just like ours. They walk amongst us.
No, I've been trying my best to improve, you know. I've been trying to like work out and stuff. I feel like some of my friends that have worked out have seen progress, and I was like, I would like some progress. So I started working out, but nobody tells you, man. Nobody tells you that working out should be something I do more often or not at all. Like it's crazy because you'll want to. I used to want to get big. I used to want to be like a big guy. Every year I have hope. Hope is a hell of a drug. Every year I got hope I'm gonna turn all around this year, you know? And it's like I'm gonna be like a bigger dude. And it's not, I don't know. I'm not saying it's not gonna happen, so I'm gonna stop trying. I'm saying it's not gonna happen, and then I have to accept that I'm done growing. So whatever I do from here on out is just going to be more horizontal than vertical. You know? So it's like, even if I got big now, that'd be bad. I didn't get tall. I'm not tall. So then I would just be wide. So then and a wide, muscular guy is on no one's list. There's no one that's I can't wait to get to that stout, fit man. I love that build of the guy who looked like he worked out for the circus. I love that. It's never been said by anybody. Because you would even, if you got really fit, but you were like, still, I don't know, like regular height to short. It is funny, when you're regular height, like apparently I'm regular height. I didn't even check. Somebody just told me that. But they were told, they did tell me that when I was having a bad day, so it might not even be true. Like it's... I wasn't even bummed out about my height. I was having a bad day. They were like, "You regular height?" And I was like, "That's a weird thing to bring up." But there's no as a man, there's no way to be regular height. You're short. Because when you even say I'm regular height, that's a short thing to say. Do you know how little you look screaming I'm regular? You look like you lost 6 inches right there. Standing up with your back, because you got your back straight so that you get all your height credit. You know what I mean? You got your back. Are you mad too? Anytime you get mad but you gotta look up a little, it makes you look shorter than you are too. Like, tall men may always seem like a threat, but at least people take them seriously when they're angry, you know? Like, if you regular height and you get mad and you're like, I'm regular. Nah, you're a little guy now, you know? And so I've been working out, but it's like, I don't know, nothing's happening. Nothing's happening, you know? Like, you be like, oh yeah, work. I'll even see other people's transformation video where they're like, I worked out for 8 months and look at me now and look at me then. And it's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, let's try that. And then you go to the gym and it just hurt. They leave that out, that is gonna just hurt the whole time. Everything you want to do hurt. Like, you want big arms, you're gonna have to hurt your arms for a while. You basically gonna have to hurt your arms 3 times a week. And make sure you eat enough steak but don't have a heart attack. It was crazy. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, get all your protein in. It's like, all right, but what if I'm ready to throw up? Like, I can only eat so much. I'm regular height. You can't fit all the food in you. You need to be bigger. If you want to be bigger with muscle, you could be bigger just in general. You could just start with Oreos and never stop, and then you would be. I could be a bigger man that way, yes. But I was trying to do it like that back of the arm muscle. You know that one that like flexes when you point. Just try and get one of those. I mean, hopefully 2. You would hate to just have 1. Be terrible. Be terrible. You out here working your hardest too. You know, just working, doing pull-ups and pushes. We gotta figure out which one of these exercises work. You know what I mean? Some of them are like functional. Like I understand a deadlift to me makes sense because it's picking up the heavy. That's the dumbest way I could have said it, but it's true. A deadlift is just you pick up heavy. And then if you pick up heavy, strong. This must have been how the cavemen said it. You know what I mean? This must have been how, like, when they were first inventing working out, when they were like, oh, your life isn't that hard, so you're not as strong as us, so if you want to get as strong as us, you have to simulate it. They didn't say simulate, that word wasn't invented yet, but like, you have to simulate it by doing as much work as we do, but just doing it in like little intervals. They wouldn't have said intervals either, but they were just like, pick up big, then strong, right? And then somebody picked it up. Again, and they picked it up again. And then they picked it up to a point where it was easy. And it was like, all right, you're strong now. That is strong, you know? And it's always nice, especially if you're regular height, to be strong. Because nobody expects it. I don't know what it is we do. I don't know why we do this. But there is a certain amount of help needed on the shelf, we assume that person also can't pick up stuff. Because they made, I don't know why they did this, by the way, but they made a shelf at the grocery store that is 1 finger higher than regular height. It's one you all because you can touch it. This is extra embarrassing. When you can touch you. And now you gotta strategically finger a cereal box. And you can't because you try to use your two fingers. You try to use your two fingers to like clamp the sides and pull. And then pull back, right? But if you can't clamp it, you have to try to slide it and then knock it over on your own head. The amount of times I've knocked a box into my own face, and now somebody turned the corner, I'm standing at the grocery store holding my eye, acting like I'm not hurt. Caught a corner in the eye. Corner of a cereal box. I don't know, why would they do that? It's crazy. Why would you do that? No one likes it. Just stop using that shelf. Put an ad on that shelf. I'll look up. Stop doing that, because then it puts us both in a terrible position. Puts us both in a very bad position, because now I gotta ask a tall man for help. I'd rather die. Now I gotta ask a tall man to help me like I'm his child. I don't know him. And then he gotta help me or else he evil. I do have a tall friend who gets asked all the time for stuff like that, and he doesn't do it at all. And I'm like, you know how many people just wishing death on you? Like, do you know how many people you over here walking down the aisle, and there's just little people. Can you get the pickles? And then you over here, nah, I'm good. Like, that's a crazy thing. It's your day. You should be able to do what you want with your day, but that is a crazy way to respond. Somebody needs help because the grocery store ran out of space, I guess they had to build up. So they made a skyscraper shelf that nobody can reach up, so that you reach up as hard as you can, and you over here. Trying to caress this jar of pickles so you can hopefully catch some glass in the face. It is terrible. One time, okay, this is really bad. I was furious. There was this one time I was at a grocery store and I just needed some taco seasoning, right? And they put it on the highest shelf in the spice aisle. It's over here. And this was one of those ones where they sell the packets, all the packets individually, but they sell it as an individual thing, even though the box comes with all the packets in it. So then the people that work at the grocery store, I know because I used to do this when I worked at the grocery store, they rip the top of the box and then all of the packets are just in there, right? And so it's at the top of the shelf because somebody is Satan. And so then they put this one in the top. And so I'm reaching up and I'm trying to, the only thing I can think to do is just go ahead and try to get my finger in the box so I can slide the whole thing out, grab one, and then put it back, right? And so I pull the whole thing down. The whole thing starts coming down. I get ready to catch it with my hand, but I guess one of these packets was defective because it was at least like halfway open. So as I look up and I get seasoned in the eyes. The ingredients of some of this taco seasoning is heinous. This is cayenne pepper. This is paprika. This is everything red. Everything red and dry is in the packet. So then I catch seasoning in the eyes. I start screaming, right? Look at that. Look at what y'all done. Now, because y'all wanted this extra shelf, I'm screaming in the spice aisle. Begging for help. No, because now tall person walk by. I hate when somebody tall offer me help too. Get away from me. I'm doing it, all right? Especially, nothing get me like when I almost got it. Edge is about to slide off the top of the shelf. I almost got it. And then walk up, do you need help? Where were you 45 seconds ago? Now you want to help now that all the work's been done. I don't actually hate tall men. I'm like mostly joking. I am. I do have a friend. He's 6'3", and one time he was crying, and I didn't feel bad for him. Yeah, I mean, I was like, come on, man. What are you so bummed out about? You know what I mean? So sad. Ooh. Because he also cried tall, you know what I mean? Yeah, I was like, he was. And has a deeper register because of, out here crying like he at the top of a beanstalk or something. What are you crying for? Just stand up. Like, as soon as you stand up, be like, oh yeah. No, I understand. I'm clearly joking. Tall people do have problems. Like door frames. Right before the pandemic, I got real fit. That was the fittest I'd ever been in my life. Like, I was running, and it wasn't even an emergency. There's only two reasons to run, from or to. No, but I was running. Because when I started running, I wasn't good at running at all. And I don't mean that I fell. I could run. Like, I was running. But I wasn't a good runner in that when I would run for exercise, like let's say I was just out having a run, it did look like an emergency to the people who were witnessing me run. Like, they weren't like, he is jogging. They were like, uh-oh. Like, because I don't run well. I run like it's the start of the disaster movie. I run like I found out about the zombies first. And I left everybody and just let them, like the first zombie bit somebody and I was like, okay. And I dipped out. Because the way that I start running is not good. Like because when I start running, because it feels dumb to start running at all. Do you know what I mean? When you're already running, especially if you're fit, or if you're just like a general like hot person, or if you got a good stride, running looks good on you. You see people, like when people run the marathon and they're doing that like kick as they run, that like, I'm like, what is that? I've never seen somebody run so efficiently, But to start running, and it's not a race. You're just running because you wanted to. This is your workout. And you decide you're going to run today. And, you don't want to start running like it's actual. You don't want to bend down. That seems very dumb. So the way that I start running, it just doesn't look good. It's like I start running like I just started running. Like, it looks bad when you see it. It doesn't help that I look behind me. Yeah, I just start running. There was one time I was running for a workout, and I had been running all week, so I had been doing a couple miles all week. So by this like 5th, 6th day, I was actually super comfortable with running. I didn't feel as dumb doing it because I had been doing it for so long. I was like, I'm getting there. I get a couple miles in every day, get home, I've worked out. This is great, right? And then I was like, you know what I'm going to do? Now that I've built up a sort of tolerance around getting started, I got my confidence up, I'm going to try to run faster and a little further than I have the other days. I think this is how people get fit. And so I take off, right? And I take off exactly like we talked about. This is still how I start running. Right? But I take off running, and as I take off running, I start like kicking, trying to do the like stride kick I see the runners do in the marathon or in like clips on Instagram, stuff like that. I'm really trying to run. And then I'm picking up speed because I'm like, look, I can stop running whenever I want. So I might as well run as hard as I can, right? And so I was running. Then I noticed this guy behind me, and it was like he was running the same way that I was running. So I was like, oh, I wonder if that Forrest Gump thing is happening. Do you know what I mean? Like, I wonder if I'm oozing so much confidence, I hadn't got a follower. And so then I start running a little harder, and then he's also running behind me a little bit harder, and we're both running in a way that like we're running together, but we're still decently apart and everything. And finally, I'm starting to get a little tired. I'm like, okay, I mean, I don't want to let him down, but I do want to stop now. Like I'm not built for the Forrest Gump thing at all. Like, I don't think I could run long enough to start an entire run club or anything like that. I really didn't even want to do 2 miles, but I keep running, and now I'm like panting, but now I'm really pushing. And then they talk about hitting a wall and like a runner's high and stuff like that. I didn't feel any of that. It was all pain. It was all just like, I got that stitch in my side, like where your side starts to stab you because it's like, what are you doing? Why are you running, stupid? We're not meant to run. Sit down. And so then my side starts hurting, but then I'm holding my side as I'm running, which then looks really bad. Like, if it looked bad when I start running, seeing me run, And then I finally slow down enough that this guy catches up to me. And I'm winded, and he's winded too. I'm like, oh, okay, so he's just like me. We're both getting started running. This is amazing. I've made a friend. Running. This is I've all said in my head. I'm too winded to speak. But I'm like doubled over. He's doubled over. And then finally he says something. He's like, what was it? I was like, what was what? He was like, what did you see? What do you mean? He's like, I saw you and I thought something bad must have happened. You know who works out hard? Marjorie Taylor Greene. I think that makes her even scarier because it's like, usually when you meet somebody who believes a bunch of conspiracy theories, they've been like, you know what I mean? Separated from society and in a basement for too long. You never meet anybody strong who's like, hey, have you heard about the lizard people? Okay, all right. This is very uncomfortable because you could also kill me. Like, there's a young woman named Riley Gaines, right? And Riley Gaines is famous because she was a swimmer, and basically in, I guess, the biggest competition of her life, she placed 5th, and a trans woman placed 4th. And so she's like, oh, if that athlete was not in the race, I would have qualified and gone on to the next stage. And that's like the hill she's dying on. That's like that like started her political career, and then that's why she gets invited to all these speaking engagements. And it is wild to me that you would tell so many people you were never going to win. Like that's crazy. Because here's the thing. Fifth means you weren't close. Fifth is crazy. Like that's, you know what I mean? You don't even have a silver medal type of bone to pick. It's like they don't make podiums for where you were gonna place. Even if this person was not in your way, all right, you still can't swim as good as other people. Like, to be fair, look, I can't swim at all. I'm not a swimmer, right? I'm not a swimmer at all. I'm trying to learn, but it feels like I'm fighting the water when I'm in there. But I don't broadcast it. You know what I mean? I'm telling you right now, for the sake of the conversation that we're having, that I can't swim. But I don't do speaking engagements where I'm like, I can't even swim that well. Pay me. Pay me money because I came in fifth, which is not close to first. Man. It's like, and just, I don't know, it's like, because there's a very there's a very hateful approach to a lot of the things that she says. And it's like, but you, in theory, wouldn't you be thanking this person? Because this person, that's the reason that you say you came in fifth. If they weren't there, you would have come in fourth. And then you just wouldn't be that great of a swimmer. You'd have nothing to talk about. This person gave you a career. Now you can travel the country being like, I can't believe I came in fifth because of this trans person. This trans person is why I came in fifth. Because no one would give you money for a speaking engagement if you were like, I came in fourth against all these cis women. What's someone gonna do about that? Just throwing it out there. Oh, you weren't close. Fifth is, like, look, I'm not saying fifth is bad. I would have come in last. But fifth is not close to, there's several people. There's several people between you and winning. A substantial amount of people. There were enough people in between you and winning to pull you out of the water if you were drowning. Like, that's a crazy amount of distance between you and number one. That's just a fact. It's a fact that you admit when you do speaking engagements where you're like, oh, I was so close to kind of qualifying. And that's just because they take the top four. If they decide to take the top three, you'd be even further from, I don't know, it's a lot of money to make to be a failure. Like, your whole thing is swimming. Your whole thing is swimming, and you didn't do it. Like, you swam, like you didn't drown, but like you. It just feels like that's what a lot of this stuff is, you know? It's a lot of an attachment to someone to blame for something you were never going to get anyway. You know? Like, that's what a lot of it is. It's like sometimes I'll see people, even with the idea of like taking jobs, right? Oh, they're coming to this country, they're taking the jobs. And it's like, yeah, okay. They're taking the jobs. What do you do? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's weird when it's like an assistant manager at like a Wendy's being like they're taking the jobs. It's like, yeah, but not this job. Like, what's... Like, some of the people that are so mad, I'm like, yes, but they are not in between you and the thing that you want. The person in between you and the thing that you want is the person who already has it. Is someone doing better than you? Is someone doing better than you that has it? So if you wanted a better job, the person that you should be mad at is the person that gives out the better jobs. The person who is willing to do any job is doing worse than you. It's weird to blame them when they don't affect you at all. Not like that. So then the person you should be mad at is the person who is keeping, and they planned it. They planned this whole thing. They made it so that you would blame this person, because when you do, you're not looking up at who's holding up all the stuff over your head. You should be mad at them up here the way that you would get mad at like a tall person walking up to you as you're like trying so hard. You're trying to pinch as hard as you can, like just a better job, just more opportunity. And they're like, hey, you want some help? Do you feel like there's help? No. How are you going to get mad at somebody doing worse than you? No, they're not keeping you from anything. You know, it's like getting mad at the bottom shelf because you couldn't reach the top. I mean, it's like... It's like getting mad that you're in 5th place when you were never going to be first. I just can't get over that. Because I remember the first time I heard about Riley Gaines, I genuinely, what I thought happened was that she was second. And then a trans athlete came in first, and she was like, oh, you stole from me. You know what I mean? And then when I heard that they don't even make a type of medal for the position she came in, it goes gold, silver, bronze. I guess you could give 4th place like aluminum or something, and then you could give 5th place like wood, maybe. You got the wooden medal in swimming. You got the waterlogged medal in swimming. Yeah. No, it just, I don't know, it blows my mind. It just feels like so much of what politics is based off of is that thing. You are keeping me from what I want. I want this. You are the reason that I'm not getting it. Not the politician. Not the person who like signs bills into law. There's just like this person over there, somehow more powerful than the person who had to be sworn in and get all these votes and have all this money and has donors and has people who call them that they better pick up the phone for. You know, that person not as powerful as random person from another country. You know, because it's not just about immigrants. It's everybody. It's every type of other, and it's every type of other until there is no other. Because then you'll see it sometimes happen. It does happen on like a final phase level to white women the most. Like hardcore conservative white women who are in the room helping make decisions and everything. There will eventually be a thing where, for whatever reason, you're around bunch of other conservative men, and then they want you out of the room. There's only so many spots, and you can't take up a spot. You're not really one of us. You're another. You're like, no, but I'm not another. It's like, you are. No, you are. You are. And you'll know it at like the worst time. It'll be like when you finally want something. You've done everything that you're supposed to do. You voted the right way. You said all the right things. You hold all the right beliefs. You do everything that you're told to do, from whether it's from a young age, you grew up in a conservative family, or you have these conservative values, and you're doing everything that you're supposed to do. You're doing everything towards the sort of life and country that you want. And then you finally want something, but maybe you want something that's a little bit out of your place to have. You know, maybe you want to step into a position that other people don't want to see you in, right? Maybe you want to be like a senator, and right now you're a House rep. And so then they tell you, no. I know you've campaigned for me. I know you've spent millions of your own money trying to help me. I know that you've had my back every step of the way. But like, no, come on. No. And maybe it's not because you're a woman. Maybe it's because you're out of your mind. But like, no. Just no. And do with that what you will. And then she's like, oh my God, you're in the Epstein files. No, I can't believe it. Oh my God. Phoenix, y'all been phenomenal. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.